Here comes a show. Arthur.
Hey.
Always great to have you on.
I'm in person.
Welcome to our studio.
Literally one of my favorite people in the world. Now, I want you to real quick kind of explain what a social scientist is and what that's about, because as we get into this, I want people to understand kind of your background a little bit and how you know the stuff you do.
Social science, well, it's a broad category of everything from psychology to economics. And what it studies is human behavior. The idea of what people do and trying to understand it using scientific, mostly statistical tools and experiments on human subjects. So it's the same, more or less the same toolkit as if you were a natural scientist, but you're studying the humans, which is hard because, you know, the natural world is highly complicated. Humans are complex, meaning that you kind of know what they want, but you don't know what they're going to do. So it's a tricky business for sure. But my laboratory is, you know, the airplane, it's conversations, it's, you know, human interactions. And that's what I'm most interested in, because love and happiness, that's what we all want. Yeah,
you're my favorite happiness expert for sure. So when you study this, then can you somewhat accurately predict how humans are going to feel or what makes them feel particular ways? Or are we so complex that it's almost impossible?
Well, you have to have a lot of humility. And one of the things that we don't have very much in academia is humility, which is a big problem. And so you don't get beyond what your data will allow you to predict or even explain. But the truth is we know a lot more than we used to, because there's been such an explosion in the intersection of neuroscience and statistical methods of studying social behavior that we know a lot more than we did in the past. So for example, even 50 years ago, people would say, you can't study happiness, it's a feeling. Well, it's not a feeling. Happiness is not a feeling any more than your Thanksgiving dinner is the smell of the turkey, which is just evidence that there's something good going on in the kitchen. The Thanksgiving dinner is actually protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Or if you're a little bit more sentimental, it's, you know, the turkey and the stuffing and the vegetables and that you're going to eat with a bunch of people that you love. And so you can actually study happiness much more like, you know, we would study nutrition if we've been in the past, and which is you can take a scientific approach to it, but you don't want to get beyond the range of your headlights. You don't want to start saying things are absolutely settled as if it were the laws of gravity. So there's a lot we don't know.
Why does academia lack humility?
Academia lacks humility because we have a tendency to puff up our own egos and to say, since I know all this stuff, I must know everything. And I'm talking to people who know less, and they're expecting me to know the answers. And nobody wants to go to a big expert in any field and have them go, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the truth is that you guys do this too, because you're experts. I mean, this is the most popular podcast in fitness and culture and health in the world right now. And so anybody who is listening to this, they're going to be like, well, these guys, they know everything about fitness. But there's lots of stuff you don't know about fitness.
True.
Saying you don't know is a hard thing for human beings to do. This is, you know, lesson one of social science. People don't like to say, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that? As trainers, it took me a couple years to realize that if I said I don't know, I actually got more respect from my clients.
Yeah.
And they were more likely to take my advice when I did know. So, and that's the irony. At first, I was afraid of saying I don't know, and then afterwards, I was happy to say it, and because people,
it was easy
real.
for me. I really didn't know, so it was.
No, it's true. But the people
what the hell am I doing here?
People don't want to display what looks like weakness,
right?
And this is a real problem. That this is a human foible, is that we don't want to display any sort of weakness. But it's absolutely true. You get more credibility when you explain that you don't know. So when I'm lecturing to my students, I mean, I have this, you know, big sections of MBA students at the Harvard Business School taking this class on the science of happiness. And, you know, I've been studying this stuff for decades, and they're taking it for the first time, and they're super into it. I mean, they're just like, and they're great. They're smart, they're applied, they're interested. And they'll be firing these questions at me, and I'll be talking at the posterior cingulate cortex. I'll be talking about different parts of the brain, all this technical stuff. I'll be talking about the neuromodulators and how it deals with emotion in the limbic system, and yada, yada, yada. And so they think I know absolutely everything. And they'll ask me a question that's relatively basic, like, why do I love my dog so much? I'll be like, huh. I'll get back to you. But they actually have respect more when somebody who's mastered the field, or at least arguably has more mastery over the field than they do, says, I don't know, because we don't know everything, because we can't know everything is the bottom line.